Venezuelans are celebrating. It's only leftists and liberals that are upset that Maduro was captured. I would like to kindly jog everyone's memory because I know how forgetful we can be when it comes to history. So the year is 2003 and the US invades Iraq. And Iraqis are celebrating because they hate Saddam Hussein. So they welcome US invasion. They are in the streets celebrating.
People were just pure exhilaration. At that point in time, you think this might just work. And I remember seeing a guy was carrying a huge couch on his back. And he turns and says, "Yay, America." You know,
The US invades Iraq under the pretense that Saddam Hussein is harboring nuclear weapons, which, by the way, they never find. And between the years of 2003 to 2011, America kills over 1 million Iraqi people. The country becomes a failed state. And if you speak to Iraqis today, they will tell you how they have deep resentment towards the United States. The country that they once welcomed becomes the country that they deeply hate and resent, and rightfully so. Soon as the US leaves Iraq, the country then goes into the hands of ISIS, the terrorist organization. You see, it's very easy to start a war. It's very easy to take out a dictator. It's very easy to bring down a regime. These are things that I will never argue that America is not good at. America is great at these things, but it's incredibly difficult to end a war. It's incredibly difficult to establish a new government that brings stability to a nation. To install a new government, to bring stability to a nation, you have to create infrastructure, roads, school, hospitals. That costs money. And America is not in the business of charity, okay? America spent $2.7 trillion in Iraq, US taxpayer dollars. Where did that money go? Private military contractors. So when people are like, Venezuelans are celebrating, why can't you just be happy for them? My response isn't, oh, I must be wrong. My response is, I have seen this before. I don't just remember history. I lived through this history. And you can't say that we as Americans don't get to have an opinion on what happens in Venezuela when it's going to be our tax dollars that goes into creating violence and instability in Venezuela. Just like that $2.7 trillion that went to creating instability in Iraq was US taxpayer dollars. The last thing I want to say is that despite being critical of many different governments, I do not ever call for regime change in Iran, China, Saudi Arabia, Cuba, etc. because I don't have to deal with the consequences of what that would look like. That would be the total collapse of a system. Do you understand what I mean? Industries would collapse, currency would collapse, instability would immediately take over. I don't know how people feel so comfortable talking about regime change, even if
Okay, so where'd he go? Oh well, okay, I'm gonna go to Enzo next because King, I'm sure, has a lot to say. Enzo, what's your thoughts? Is this Iraq 2.0? Been
No.
carrying the liberal crash outs all weekend.
No, I think it's absolutely insane to try to compare Venezuela to Iraq.
Right.
Exactly.
Just the atmosphere of the people are completely two different things. I'm looking at this as more or less, if I'm going to compare it to any other conflict or any other time we went into a country, I'm going to compare it to Panama. The same type of situation. We went in there in 90. We pretty much invaded and occupied Panama for X amount of time. Took out Maduro, or not Maduro, I'm fucking Noriega. I'm sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. That and look what happened with Panama. Panama was better off in the end after that, in my opinion, from looking at it that way. Like they said in the video, the only people that are crashing out about this are the liberals, are the Democrats, are the people that have never experienced socialism or an authoritarian regime in their entire life, which are the same group at the beginning of the year were screaming, "No kings, Trump's a dictator, but free the dictator, free the authoritarian, free the socialist." It's literally, it doesn't matter what Trump does at this point. They're going to find something to bitch about.
Right.
He could go arrest Putin right now, and they will say free Putin.
Right.
They will be at the courthouse free Putin all day long.
King, thank you for your service. As someone that actually might have to go if we go in, what do you think? Is this Iraq 2.0 or is this hyperbole?
First, I'll say this. I think it's good if the United States continues to establish and maintains its dominance over the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, that's just a part of being a country. Absolutely. Maduro was absolutely a dictator. But these are the issues that I have with the way that we done it. When we have people in Congress with us having checks and balances saying that they were not notified when it's supposed that's how our checks and balance system works, that's an issue for me. Because what happens when we get somebody in there, like we're looking at right now, like okay, that was what was done right now. But what happens later on? And like it's easy for people to say, "Oh, this was great," but what happens later on when we have a president that does the same thing and they wage or do or send troops somewhere the people doesn't necessarily agree with? That's not your daughters, that's not your sons that you're sending out. Again, I've said this many times on this platform, on my platform. Anybody that wages war or advocates for war or advocates for sending troops anywhere, if you don't have skin in the game, then you absolutely should not be advocating for it. If you can't be affected by it, you should not be advocating for it. You shouldn't be saying, yeah, yeah, you shouldn't be doing it because you can't be affected by those choices. And I just don't think that we should have done it the way that we did it. I would have been a lot more happier if Congress would have been notified. I would have been a lot more satisfied if this was like a team effort. And I just don't like the idea of our president or any country sending somebody in or sending in the military and snatching somebody in the dead middle of the night. And I absolutely think that this may end up being like Iraq 2.0 on steroids. The people are happy. I'm happy that they're happy, but sometimes it's better to deal with the devils that you know rather than the devils that you don't know, because they don't know what they just unleashed on their country. America did not come in there for free. We never go somewhere and we don't and we leave. I mean, that's everywhere we go, we leave a footprint there. So this is going to definitely have consequences. What would the consequences look? Nobody on this panel will know. Nobody will know until we get to that point. Hopefully, the people don't become radicalized. Hopefully, they won't suffer the same fate as the Iraqi people. But we won't know until later on.
Kamal, you're the most apolitical on the panel. Do you think this is going to be Iraq 2.0? And what do you think? I can't wait to hear what you say.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with all y'all on the panel. I kind of don't give a rat's ass about this shit. Is this gonna bring the oil price down? That's all I give a fuck about.
Yes,
Yes.
potentially, more than likely.
Hey, King, I'm with you about
Absolutely.
the war shit, not sending people to war. But damn it, if it get my gas price to $3, I don't know, man. I don't know, shit. I'm just saying though. But to be honest though, I kind of didn't really pay attention to this story. I kind of don't give a rat's ass about this. I kind of care more about Tim Walz saying that, you know what, we about to get into that later anyway. I care more about that story than this, to be honest.
I'll let you go first on that one. I'll keep that in mind. This is another perspective about the Iraq 2.0, and I'm gonna let Rippy get in there.